Cantor's impact on a series, that's a problem, right?
Yeah,
so
fair.
They have no answer for Jokic here. Nuggets D is smothering right now. They forced 18 turnovers in game 1, 6 of them on Lillard. So
it's not good.
It's fun, man, but yeah.
This is if you haven't watched the NBA playoffs, this is the series to start.
Yeah, I agree.
This round of the playoffs, good matchups.
I agree.
Good matchups.
Dave, let's bring in a legend. I'm looking forward to talking to this guy. He played 11 years in the NFL, primarily with the St. Louis Rams. He was a 2-time Pro Bowler. Find him on Twitter at Marc Bulger 10. Marc Bulger making his way into the Big Play Podcast. How you doing tonight, Marc?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. So last weekend, of course, we know a lot of young men's lives were changed. Your experience in the draft, you came out, you're a 6th-rounder out of West Virginia. Tell us about that week for you leading up and that weekend. What was your draft experience like?
Oh, my gosh. Well, I live in Nashville now, so holy cow, that was
right
here this past weekend. But, no, it's funny. From the combine on, they pair you with people alphabetically. And the year I came out, I was paired with a guy. We couldn't understand how these other guys were going to get drafted ahead of us. We both were mediocre at the combine, which I really don't believe in the combine. I think it's more job interviews for the coaches, but that's beyond the point.
That's fair.
But we both come out, we get drafted in the same round, and he went on to win 5 Super Bowls, Brady, but I did okay. And but no, we were partners at the combine, and it was just a crazy experience. We both thought we were going to maybe go first day, and we had to sit. This was when it was Saturday, Sunday, instead of Thursday to Saturday, how it is nowadays.
Right, absolutely. So you found yourself at the Saints, weren't there that long, and then all of a sudden ended up on the Falcons practice squad. Didn't spend a great deal of time there, and then all of a sudden you're with the Rams, and you're sitting behind a guy named Kurt Warner, who I'm sure had a great effect on your career. Tell us about what it was like to be in the QB room with him and learn from the great Kurt Warner.
Yeah, it was cool. The first year I pretty much sat at home in Pittsburgh and had no job. And Coach Mike Martz, he's a big influence on Kurt Warner too. And I just tried to be a sponge with Kurt that first year. I just was 3rd string and just watched how he prepared. And Coach Martz was really, really tough on quarterbacks, and especially his 2nd and 3rd string guys.
Yeah, right.
But I watched Kurt, and then, unfortunately he broke a finger, and then the backup, Jamie Martin, hurt his knee, and I got my chance, and I was ready just because I had watched how Kurt prepared for that first year. And in the NFL, you only might get one chance, and I just knew I had to be ready, just like Kurt was when he had the chance when Trent Green hurt his knee.
So Marc, when you finally did get that chance, how many games did you win in a row? Was it 6?
I don't. I think.
I think it was
8. Yeah.
I like you went higher.
I know I was the first. The 10,000 yard or the fastest, and first. And the fastest to 1,000 yards. But obviously that goes to Coach Martz. He was so great. But learning from Kurt Warner, Coach Martz. My first start ever, we were 0-5 coming off the Super Bowl. And the Raiders were playing, we're 6-0. My first series ever, I was on the 2-yard line coming out.
Wow.
So I said, oh boy. And I get in the huddle, and I got Marshall Faulk, Orlando Pace, I got Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, everyone looking at me. And I said, all right, I had Isaac Bruce my fantasy team last year. Well, in Pittsburgh, and now I'm in the huddle with him on the 2-yard line.
Right.
But no, we went right down. I threw my first touchdown pass. We won that game, and we went. We rattled off 7-8 straight in a row, and the rest is that. But again, Kurt Warner and Mike Martz were really influential to me.
Yeah, so you mentioned a guy we've become familiar with here, Isaac Bruce, Marc. We had him on a few weeks ago. This guy obviously has the numbers. He has the pedigree to be in the Hall of Fame. Can you think of one good reason this guy is not in the Hall of Fame yet?
I think his humility. He worked harder than anyone in the whole building. The guy's humble. He works hard. He's a great guy, and the fact that he's not in is beyond me. But I know one day he'll get in, and I know he wants it. But,
Yeah.
He's the best, one of the best competitors I've ever been around.
Absolutely. So 2003 was the year, of course, your Pro Bowl year. You guys suffered that devastating loss, a double OT thriller, still one of the best playoff games ever in the divisional round against the Panthers. Reflect back on that game. That was such a magical season for you guys. What was it like losing in that fashion? And what do you, when you reflect back, what do you remember from that game?
Yeah, that one stung. I know they went down, and Leonard Little, I think it was a shovel pass or a pitch. We could have taken it for an early 7, but somehow they recovered a fumble and got a touchdown. I said, oh, this is good. And then Steve Smith had a late game. We missed a field goal in the first overtime. I'm over it, but that one stung.
Absolutely.
Because I know that was probably the best team I've ever been on.
Sure. Yeah, but you were a part of a great team with some great players, kind of the end of that greatest show on turf era. But you still played with guys like Steven Jackson, Torrey Holt. We mentioned, of course, the great Isaac Bruce. Talk about the greatness of the Rams franchise during that time, Mark, and some of the players you got the opportunity to play with.
Yeah, in the early 2000s, it was honestly like coming from a college to a college. And then in the late 2000s, we had ownership change, and there were some things going on, but it just made me realize that the teams that are successful have continuity, and in the NFL at least, and everyone hung out together. There was no cliques, and that's the way we were. I mean, between defense, offense, O-line, D-line, it was just Grant Wistroms and Dre Bly's and Dexter McLeon's. I mean, everyone hung out, and we went in as a team. And then when you're not playing so well, I saw it when we weren't playing well, that you get divisions, and that's not going to work in the NFL. And I think that's why the Steelers, the Patriots, and these, the Packers and different organizations like that, they can keep that continuity, which is so important.
Right, absolutely. So a team that's become quite the franchise as of recent is your former team, the Rams, of course. We're all aware of how the season ended, that infamous no call, and then, of course, the comeback there by the Patriots. But, certainly everyone thinks that the future's bright there with Sean McVay. Just talk about his coaching and what you think of the current Rams squad, Mark.
It's exciting. I was a Ram for 10 years, so that's when my kids were born in St. Louis. I know they're LA now, but I'm a Jersey guy. I'm a logo guy, so I'm a Ram for life. But what he's done is amazing. It's a new era. I'm getting older. I'm in my early 40s now, and I think he can relate to the younger players a lot better. And the guys I know that have played for him so far have said he actually listens. A lot of the quote unquote older coaches, they say they're going to listen, but they don't. But he actually takes their advice and runs with it. And I think the guys appreciate that. And if you have guys in the NFL, because everyone's athletic ability is pretty much the same, if they are going to play for their head coach, that means a ton. And I think that's what he has. And I'm excited. I think we'll get a ring here in the next couple of years.
That was my next question. Super Bowl next year?
I'm not going to make any predictions, but I'm telling you what, they've built a pretty good foundation. And I mean, you look at that D line and you look at what they've built. It was long-term thinking, and it's starting to pay off, it's pretty exciting if you're a Los Angeles Rams fan.
Yeah, you look at the NFL now. Obviously that the recent rule change regarding pass interference has come under, some fire. Depending on kind of who you are lately, what are your thoughts on that rule change and just the NFL nowadays with quarterbacks?
No, it's obviously I'd love to be playing right now.
How many yards would you have a year? Would you have 5,000, 6,000 yards?
Imagine Dan Marino or Joe Montana right now. But you look back, I even the 2001, 2002, when we played the Patriots in the first Super Bowl. obviously had to watch the film, and they literally were tackling Isaac and Torrey the whole game, and there was no calls. Nowadays, those guys would kill it. So, but it is what it is. It's good for the game. It keeps it exciting. I think the bigger, I played with a guy, Jerry Porter. He's a second-round pick, the Oakland Raiders at West Virginia. He's, I think, the prototypical receiver. Now, they're just big guys that can get the yak. When they get the ball, they're going. And so I think teams need to start getting corners that can tackle, because the receivers are only going to get bigger, stronger, and faster.
Yeah, circling back to the NFL draft real quick. Obviously, down in Nashville, kind of a party area for the NFL draft. And you look at some of these quarterbacks that came out. Do you have any favorites in this quarterback class? People were saying Daniel Jones a little bit of a reach. You look at all these guys. What any favorites out of this class?
Well, I'm biased. My favorite's Will Greer. He went to Carolina, so
okay,
because he's a West Virginia, guy. So I'm just, I just think that as long as guys are willing to learn and be a sponge, and I think it's really difficult if you go somewhere that doesn't have a good supporting cast when you're young. So I actually think it's good for like a Will Greer to go and learn behind a Cam Newton, or someone to go learn behind a Ben Roethlisberger, because to come from college to the NFL, it's a different deal. I mean, these guys, this is their livelihoods, this is their salaries, and their kids depend on it. So you better have your stuff together. And I just think that was a problem in the NFL, 10 years ago, when you're giving someone 50, 60 million and throwing them right into the fire, and they don't know what they're doing. So just as long as the guys know, hey, you're not in college anymore. this is the big leagues.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious, Mark, what you think about this. You mentioned development. We had another former Mountaineer, Oliver Luck, on recently. Talked about the XFL and the league that's going to be dropping here in 2020. We obviously know the AAF was a flop, and that unfortunately did not happen. Do you think there's a place for a successful secondary football league in the spring or fall? What do you think about that?
I do. I was on the outskirts of another league briefly, MLF, for a little while, and that kind of flopped. It's just, I think they need it. It's just, I think the NFL would have to get behind it. I think they pretty much have everything contained, and I mean, you have it in NCAA football, so they really don't need the developmental. It's just, you can't have these guys playing 12 years or 12 months a year, because your body needs rest. And I think for too long, you can't train a guy to play football 12 months a year. But, the NFL's product is so good. I think it would be too tough to compete in the spring versus the NFL. It's just simple as that, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you're still competing at a very high level as a curler. How the heck did you get into curling?
Oh, jeez. Okay. Jared Allen, he played for Minnesota and Kansas City.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Probably a Hall of Famer. And Mike Roos and Keith Bullock, possible Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So that's our team here in Nashville.
No way!
Wow. Be an Olympian. And I said, okay, let's be an Olympian. And he said, badminton. So I watched badminton for a week. I called Jared back and said, there's no way in heck we can do badminton. These guys are too quick, too small, and too fast. I'm going to hurt myself. He goes, all right, give me a week. And so he calls me back a week later and says, hey, curling. I was like, all right. And so literally we got our team together, and we literally spent this whole winter at tournaments in Minnesota and Wisconsin, Vegas, Phoenix. I mean, we've been everywhere. We just had practice yesterday. We have practice tomorrow morning for 3.5 hours. We have an Olympic coach. Our skip was a 2010 Olympian. I mean, we're dead serious. It's harder than you think, but it's fun. But we'll see. We've already played against the Olympic team twice. So.
Have you really? No kidding. So this is
Matt
this is
Hamilton and
as legit as
King
it gets.
Schuster, yeah, the guy with the
Wow.
mustache. Everyone, he
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
much
yeah,
has an
right.
emoji now. Yeah. Oh, we know all those guys now.
That's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we know you're in your Nashville area now, Mark. You know, everyone kind of has their favorites. Give us your favorite Nashville chicken spot.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
They're all good. That's the problem.
Judge Beans. It's not Judge Beans is pretty good. It's in
Okay.
Brentwood. It's a little bit south of town, but they got really good barbecue. There's Corky's, but this little place called Judge Beans. It's by my house. I love it. So.
Nice, Judge Beans. All right, Mark. Hey, we appreciate you taking some time with us tonight. Guys, follow him out there on Twitter. Check out his curling, too, as well.
Yes.
At Marc Bulger, Ted. Mark, appreciate you taking some time with us tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Take care. Bye-bye.
That was Marc Bulger. Great stuff from him. A little loud on the applause
Well,
there.
people love him. What the heck? That could have been football fans. That could have been curling.
Sorry, Mark, if I killed your ears there
Wow,
as you
he's
left.
like, yeah, now I can no longer do an interview.
Wow, that is a loud live audience they got there at BigPlay.com.
I love his story about curling.
Oh,
Could you imagine him and Jared Allen are just trying to make the Olympics?
That was a star-studded cast he had on there. I didn't see that coming.
Wow, they're the Monstars of curling now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Except everyone likes him.
Yeah, that's fair. Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and Newman doesn't play against him.
Very true.
Anyways,
Very
yeah.
true.